User-friendly, whatever.
You
trade off.
Yeah, because I wanted to follow up something when we left off, just similar but different, right? Like you guys, are we filming? Yeah, because you guys were saying, it was right before we cut off, you guys were saying how, describing what TM1 is as a multidimensional spreadsheet. So that was fascinating to hear all you guys kind of describe it in that way so confidently at the engine level. But what if you're, like at a backyard barbecue meeting somebody for the first time and they ask you so what is it that you do? Like, I guess you say I'm a software programmer, but do you ever get the question of trying to describe what TM1 is to people? And how would you describe it to just somebody who you...
Or would you try and avoid it?
I've gotten that question a couple of times, not from people that are very technical
from your mom or your wife.
No, from other people. They don't even try that. Explain. I'm a software engineer. That's it.
And then you end it from there. I'm just a software engineer.
But what I say to people, whenever they say, "Oh, well, what is that? What do you do?" I say, "Well, I do financial software."
You just say financial software and leave it there?
Or something like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
It depends if you want to really engage in a conversation or not.
Yeah, right.
No, if you really want to explain and have some good idea of what it is, just tell me it's Excel, but Excel that everybody can use and see. It's.
Well, sometimes I just throw I'm working on multidimensional databases.
Yeah, once you start adding those words to the explanation, it's really hard to.
I think I've gotten this question many times, but a lot of the crowd I have, they actually have an appreciation of complexities. Yeah. So I usually start with I build a database engine. It's a multi-dimensional database engine. Okay.
That's what you would say at a barbecue to some random person? You're like,
not a random person.
I
guess, a lot of people I deal with, they kind of have like an idea what it is. Because one of the trick thing, if you say something like a database, they're thinking DBA.
Yeah, they're thinking
They're thinking use a database.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't think a database engine.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to point out it's a database engine, not a database. It's a database engine. And then you say multidimensional. Okay.
Right.
And then they started to ask details. Is a database engine just like SQL Server is a database engine, like Oracle is a database engine, TM1 is a database engine. Okay, but it's multidimensional. And then you explain to what people use it for. Right. So you say mostly use it for financial planning. Or the key is that you can have at some point you have to explain the key. The key is that it's multidimensional data and connected with multiple users. You have to see that.
It's all in memory. It's all in memory, read and write.
It's all in memory.
I remember at the beginning, like I said, right out of college, everybody what we knew was relational databases. And when I told my friends, which they are technical, right? And I said, well, what are you working on? I said, well, I'm working on some databases and it's all in memory. They're like, what? All in memory?
Yeah, that was already kind of weird.
Why would you want to be all in memory?
Right, that's crazy. It ain't gonna fit there. Yeah. And they were all like, what?
Yeah, they didn't believe you. They thought you were
they thought I was working on a toy. Toy database or something like that.
When you look at it, it's not different than it's a relational database. Relational database
but it
stores the data, also stores the data, and everything else is in memory.
In B3, yeah, but a relational databases could be a lot bigger than what you could store in TM.
Because they have more data.
I did also use
transactional data.
It's transactional data. So it's the nature of the data. It's not that
Yeah,
that the
that's-
same data is
Right.
more efficient in TM1. It's that it's different nature.
Well, you understand that when you build your cubes and all that from relational data, you can see that it's summarized data of the transactional data, right?
Yeah,
You take
because,
all the-
because they create transactions of
So
things that are
that's for
calculated.
people
You can
who
decree-
actually know what database is. Then for people who don't know, then you basically explain to them, you build an engine, just like a car engine, so other people can build cars around it.
Yeah, no, that's
But the
reasonable.
engine's producing, I'd say, sort of fast-moving data. That's the reason why you need to put it into. That's one of the reasons you can explain to your friend.
Right.
The data's volatile, it's being used and changed all the time.
Right, but well, they understand that the big leap at that time was, well, you have a big relational database. How are you going to fit that in memory? And you're going to explain, I'm not going to fit a whole transactional data in memory. I'm going to summarize it, and then you can do calculations.
I did see somebody explain. I think it was in the TM1 forum, when somebody. I don't usually go on there, but the one time I go there, I think somebody explained. They explained their job as a developer, the TM1 developer, right? Not as us,
Yeah,
but a
right.
TM1 developer.
Yeah.
He's describing, my job is to build those kind of like similar to cubic cubes for business, so other business people can play with. Right, so in their range, we build the engine so they can build the cubic cubes.
But if
Right, yeah.
if I always go back to that question when my mom or my wife or my mother-in-law, they ask me, hey, what is TM1? What's all the fuss about TM1?
Yeah.
They
What do you
barely
say?
know Excel. They use Excel, but they
Yeah.
don't know what is a pivot table is, or so
Yeah.
they see Excel as a grid where you put numbers, and sometimes you can put a formula here that changes the numbers. So that's the kind of the most basic understanding of Excel, right? So how do you explain TM1 to someone with that understanding?
Well, that's a different type of demo.
Yeah, and
the
that's
group
and that's
people.
what I find in the barbecue, party, right?
that's the
Someone-
question I'm asking,
Someone,
yeah.
someone like, I know Excel, I know it's a grid, and I can change something here and it changes there. So yeah, it's the same thing, but
If I think
when you do that, other people can see it on their computers, and then you have not only one grid, you have many grids that are hidden. You don't see them because they are in other dimensions, but they're there.
I think for people understand Excel, that you definitely need to come in from the Excel angle.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's the spreadsheet is the kind of, it was the killer application of the of the 70s or
80s.
or the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
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 So that's still the killer.
Manny kind of had the multidimensional spreadsheet in his mind already before the spreadsheet itself was kind of invented,
right.
right? He'd already kind of abstracted it to be
I
much
think it
bigger
was-
than what the spreadsheet was
Yeah, the
itself,
first
right?
product was kind of like marketed as a
It was a spreadsheet, right?
What's a
First
spreadsheet?
one was a spreadsheet.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
had
the
its own
DOS
spreadsheet
version,
in
the
the front,
DOS version has its own spreadsheet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk a bit about how TM1 evolved from once 64-bit came in? What the next sort of big jump was in version 9, maybe. So when more people were putting data in, and there were probably more users coming in as well, then you had a kind of a locking or a concurrency sort of issue.
Well, the concurrency stuff started at 7. It just took us along quite. I think we got a basic principle right from the beginning, but there's a lot of hiccups in the beginning to get the details. For example, the logs we initially created was per cube, but the data log easily showed up, so we have to simplify it into a 3-log system. It's a much simpler scheme. Later they had to change the log in version 9, version 9.1, I think, to be it's really kind of like a totally different log mechanism.
Yeah, it always comes down to the magnitude of reads versus writes, and the locking system, what it does is it allows any number of people reading the data while you don't have any writers. Once a writer enters the system, you have to stop all the readers until that write goes through.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the principle, the mechanism that the thing is at what level you establish that, right? What is the resolution? So you do it at the cube level, at the view level, slice level, or cell level. You know, there are many levels where you can put it in. And Manny's idea was always, hey, this is low resolution. You cannot put it at the highest resolution because there is a cost involved in locking.
Yeah.
When you have multiple users, that there is a context switch that happens there that is expensive, right? And when we did all the benchmarks and all that, to make it fast, we kind of figured out that sweet spot there. And I guess people kept trying to get it at a higher resolution, but didn't work out. Right?
Well, they have it now.
They have
it now. Take a while.
So how they got it working? I mean, what was because they probably changed some of the locking mechanisms. Is it still a reader's writer lock or?
Well, it's more like a opportunistic lock. So
right.
And you are allowed to roll back your changes if you are.
So it's optimistic concurrency.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before was we did a lot of things to optimize the lock, simple lock system. Like readers bypass writers, right? We allow as much readers get their job done before you allow the writer to come in. There's a fundamental conflict.
So they have to fundamentally change the logging mechanism.
Yeah, what they have now is the same locking that relational databases have. So you go in, I let you in, make a transaction, and you have your own delta there. And then when you get to the end,
when you get to commit, you compare to the original version. If it's different,
you roll back and you throw it away.
Okay. So conceptually it's good. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's
unless you have many people trying to write on the same place at the same time, then you have
the rollback can.
But that wasn't the original concept, was it? What you described there?
No.
You guys,
our original is much.
I mean, not the original, but I mean, like the original in version 9, there was like a first.
Was it? Like, there was
Well, I think they started the official release. I think is 9.1, but I could be fuzzy. Could be 9.0, but I think it's 9.1. It is this concept. It's just that it's not, like any technology, it takes time to get it done right.
Right. Okay. Just
take time. I mean, the locks we had was much simpler, but has more. It also has its own issues, right? So, so there's a lot of, but I would say our multispreading got the fundamentals right from the beginning. Because I remember, some of the partners and customers say, well, we wait a long time for TM1 to do the multispreading. It really is working. Okay, it's really working, and it's really, working independently and working, correctly. I mean, one was we remember we have to change the memory, essentially the caching, to be introduce additional layers, like the user layer caching, because all those little blocks that we used to give back, that's a global. We have to change it to per user. So there's a lot of detailed tuning, but we did even when 7 came out. Well, not the initial 7. By the time I think we get the 7.14 or 7.1 something, it was already pretty solid in the multispreading. Not to say it doesn't have problems. Didn't have problems.
So then with 952, the parallel interaction came in, and it worked. And then there's like a bit about sandboxing as well, which is kind of similar.
Well, sandboxing, like I said, right? Yeah. To be able to roll back, you need to hold the delta, right? They change essentially.
That's what sandbox is, effectively.
Right. It's just that whether it's per user, or per thread, or per a more global, but the underlying technology is traversing the 3 trees, right? You've got to be able to hold the delta and still know how to put the data together to give you the correct results.
So as an end user, you can see like phantom results in your queries while things are changing.
Well, you can see your own results.
You can make your own changes.
You can make your own.
But then they can potentially get rolled back and
well, you
when they commit.
You can see them, and at some point you can say commit, and then you push it.
And that operation will be accepted or denied according to to the logging.
Will be accepted if there's no conflict.
Well, there's 2 types. There's the sandboxes is what they're talking about. It's a
You
it's
can
a
keep
user-
your own copy
user feature.
It's
for
a
as long as
user-
you want,
right.
or you can commit and share it,
Right.
like a GitHub, like a Git,
Right.
Branch.
version control system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, that's underlying technology to make it possible, right? So, but that's already done. Even then, it's already there. But the lock itself took much longer to mature, which is, reasonable. So,
So you guys are always at the engine level, like the front ends were always done by other people, like
well,
kind of thing.
that's
So you,
not
All the time.
that's
We
not
have to do all
true.
our front ends.
Well,
We have to pay our
you had to pay your dues, yeah.
Well, there are two periods of time. When we just started, there was no client, there's no TM architect yet. All we have is perspectives. That's our client.
Yeah.
And there are two perspectives. One is for 1, 2, 3. One is for Excel, right? So we all working on those add-ins. I mean, the
Right.
add-in, the C API for Excel. That's what we use for add-in. Later they don't support it anymore. Notice include the Japanese version of Notice. So we had to pay our dues to work on those. And then we're exclusively focused on engine. When they introduced this architect team in
Yeah.
Westboro, in Applex. But that team, after 2000, maybe 2001,
I think it was 2002.
somewhere around there. I thought it was more like 2001 because I hired Heinl and Dimitri right after 2000, maybe 2000. But that team actually they all went, and the whole team went. So we don't
Right.
have anybody to take care of those client anymore.
Right.
So the Warren team has to take it back, work on the client as well. I mean,
Yeah, I remember working.
he
on
has to
the-
be back on the work on subset editor.
I had to
Yeah.
pick up the subset editor and the dimension editor, which
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Nice
So
one.
there was like a
The
couple of
subset
neat
editor
years.
is core to TM1. Like people have been using like perspectives for years. Like in the end, you find yourself in the subset editor maybe more than anything. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing people are using the most, right?
yeah.
But
Yesterday, someone was mentioning the rules debugger. What was the name of that?
Oh yeah.
That was the last thing I did before I left.
Yeah,
the
that's
rules
the
tracer.
rules tracer.
No,
Rules
you're talking
tracer.
about tracer. So there's
Rules
a
tracer.
there's a rules tracer. There's also like there's a feeder checker.
Feeder
Right.
check.
Feeder checker, rules
But
tracer.
they-
that has a
they-
UI,
we talk
a
about
UI
this-
component because I remember working on that UI and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it was.
Debugger is something else. I mean, Jose and don't even have anything to do with it. I don't know if they still have it. They
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 have
built
it, bro?
something
I don't know. If they have it.
in the
Something that
performance.
we can stop in the middle of a rule and watch
I
all
don't
the
think
variables.
they have a
and the
rules
cubes and
editor, but
everything.
not a debugger.
I thought they had a rules editor that you can debug, but
Really?
you and I never look at it. Okay,
Nah, I
so
don't-
we don't know anything about it. Maybe
Yeah,
you
I've
guys
heard.
know.
When you say
I haven't
feeder
heard about
checker,
that.
Do you mean literally when you're on a cell, you go check feeders?
Yeah, you
That-
can put-
That's not a feeder checker,
you-
as far as I can
You
see.
can put break points in the consolidation, and then you can watch everything that's happening and how you.
what? Are you joking about that?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, I was gonna say like,
It's true. It's true.
sheesh. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we were told there was a debugger, for at least for TI, and
Yeah.
I would told.
Oh yeah, there is now.
I have
There
not
is?
seen it.
We've built that into Arc, which is our developer front end.
Okay, so you guys can debug that into TI. So line by line TI. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that we can.
Because
Put a
at
breakpoint
one
and
time
stuff.
Jose and I said, because if we're not going to continue, we're probably just going to build a debugger.
I built a little debugger thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I could.
On the side. Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't built in VB or something.
Yeah.
It's a window that you had, and you could put a
The
breakpoint.
TI
on it.
debugger.
Yeah.
So you were the one who built that.
No, I built one that
We never
just for the
published it.
for
We
the
didn't
heck of
publish
it. I didn't
we were,
never
we were
publish
going
it.
to do something.
But there was one kind of flying around for a while that
Was it?
somebody had built a TI debugger and like it kind of, I don't know who was it, like
I don't know.
Corbett or somebody
took
just
it
like,
from my
no,
computer.
somebody
No,
just
no, I saw
somebody
that
leaked
somebody-
it saying like if you want to use this is a little utility for free if you want to use it kind of. I don't know if it's the same thing that you
no,
were, but
No,
it's
I don't
definitely
think
not
it
the
was.
one
I don't
that
think it
Jose
was.
built. But
Like right now, I build
I think somebody has some versions, some more, but they're definitely not built by us.
right.
Not by me and Jose.
Can you guys reveal something that we don't know? Some hidden Easter egg for us?
Well, I don't know.
Back
I
door,
thought.
until
I
you
thought
press-
no,
you
no,
press
no, no.
Control
well,
Alt
they had something called a
IK,
performance.
and then it
What?
Flying simulator pops.
No. They have something called a performance modeler or something,
Yeah.
right? And I think in there they have generated some basic rules automatically. And also, I thought the Java-based editor is part of it, and I thought they could do debugging. But that product, my understanding is
It kind of.
it's gone. It's gonna not gonna be
It kind of
supported.
failed. Yeah.
Yeah, but we have never seen it. Time we left, it wasn't there.
Oh, that happened while you guys weren't in the
We're in
TM1
the,
team
yeah,
or
we're in the
whatever.
calculus team.
Yeah.